The Whiz Kids lose to the Miami Heat 118-98 in Mexico City. But not only did Jordan Poole and Bilt Coulibaly shine, but Alex Sarr showed up. Come on, y'all. Let's talk about it next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's really good, everybody? It's your boy, Brennan Scott again. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, introducing the Locked On Wizards daily newsletter, a one-stop shop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with all new, free Locked On Wizards newsletter. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, everybody, a lot to talk about. The Whiz Kids did drop one in Mexico City, 118-98, but three gentlemen definitely stepped up and gave us, again, another glimpse of what the future holds for the Washington Wizards. But how did this team lose this game? Easy. Several factors. Number one, the shooting was abysmal, especially from three-point range. Now, they did shoot 41.8% from overall from field goal, as opposed to the Miami's 42%. So overall, from field goal range, wasn't too bad for 41%, but 3 points were abysmal, man. If you look at the numbers tonight, 20% from three-point range, 7 for 35. Another factor why the Wiz Kids lost this game, rebounding. We lost the battle of the rebound 73-52, and they won the offensive rebound battle 21-8. Lord have mercy. So let's get into the starting five. They rolled out, again, the very, very young Wiz Kids starting five, and it was not a bad starting five if you look into build chemistry amongst these young guys, because there is a report that we're going to talk about after the first break about how the Washington Wizards are currently shopping all their veterans right now. So, like I said, it is going to be a younger team sooner than later, but let's get into the starting five. So, Bob Carrington tonight, not his best showing, but his assist numbers were on point. He actually played 37 minutes tonight, 4 points, 4 rebounds, but 8 assists. So, his distribution game was on point. 2 for 9 for the field, but 0 for 5 from 3, 4 steals, and 0 turnovers. So, look, ball security was key with him. Not his best showing offensively. We know what he can do offensively, but he has the floor general in him tonight, man, because he had 8 assists. Jordan Poole continues to play good basketball. Not only most improved player type of basketball, but look, if we weren't such a bad team, all-star basketball, because like I said, he is definitely coming to the season very, very locked in, man. And he clearly has a chip on the shoulder. Let everybody know that he is still JP13. So, like I said, tonight, another great game from him. 21 points, 8 for 18 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3, 3 for 4 from the charity strike, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and only 4 turnovers. Come on now. Defensively, that was the biggest thing that a lot of us wanted to see more from Jordan Poole this season, which was defense. Offensively, we know he's a dog. We know that he can score at a high level. We saw in Golden State, and yes, last year it was an up-and-down season, but we saw last year, especially in the second half, when this team was second in pace. I believe it was first or second in pace, but hey, ain't neither one is too shabby, right? So this team moved faster, and they were better last year in the second half. And you see with this team, man, like I said, look, we all know what it is. This is a lottery team, and there's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises this year, especially once this team formally starts a youth movement. But Jordan Poole is one guy that is looking more and more likely that he's going to be around for a little bit. So Bilt Coulibaly, has he broken out? I'm telling you, it looks like he is, man. Now, the biggest thing with a young player like Bilt Coulibaly is what? Consistency. But he has shown that he may, I made it known that I thought next year was going to be the year that he probably rebuilds, or not rebuilds, but breaks out, rebuilds. But look, it may be this season, guys, because like I said, he is looking good. 22 points tonight, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 for 12 from the field, so he is an efficient scorer. 2 for 2 from 3, so the 3-point shot is there. It has arrived. He shows a total, restraint, lack of restraint shooting that 3-point shot. And that's what you want to see from a guy like Bilt. He is letting that 3-point shot go, and he's shooting at a very highly efficient level, man. So, like I said, Bilt Coulibaly is looking really, really good this season. 4 for 6 from the charity strike, but overall defensively, he's that guy. He's going to guard the best player on the other team. But I'm saying, man, Bilt, aka Be Cool, man, looking good. Good, man. Again, a really good night from him. But let's talk about another guy. A guy that after 5 summer league games, people were ready to call this man a bust. Man, he told y'all, all the critics that is, he told y'all would have put that doubt. Alex Sarr tonight, really good game. 27 minutes tonight, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 7 for 11 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the charity strike, and 4 blocks. Come on now. Let me repeat that. 4 blocks. He continues to shine as a rim protector on this team. Very young team. And again, if he needs to add a little bit of muscle, I'm looking at probably around 5 pounds. You don't want to go too much on gaining muscle because it will slow him down in transition and make him a heavier player. So I think 5 pounds, and I think he can, definitely work up to where he can really challenge a lot of these bigs in the NBA. Because, I mean, let's take a look at the numbers for Bam Adebayo tonight. Obviously there was a big strength difference between him and Sarr. Tonight he was 32 points, 14 rebounds from Bam Adebayo. So he's going to do his thing. Like I said, is he quite ready to be that center right now? No, not yet. He needs to add some muscle. But you see the rim protection. You see, his presence on the defensive end. So like I said, tonight, he did his thing. Like I said, Alex Sarr continues to show why he could be another star in the making. And I said it before. When you look at hindsight, this is probably going to be one of the most important drafts in the Wizards rebuild. Yes, everybody's looking at 2025 NBA draft with Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, 2026 with, Boozer's son in the draft amongst other players. But we were able to add 3 high-impact players in this draft. And all 3 of these players are showing what they can do, not only now, but what to expect from them in the future. I mean, this is going to be a young and dangerous team in the next 2 to 3 years, man. So like I said, definitely put your seatbelt on, man, because it's going to be a heck of a ride for a young Wizards team. So Keyshawn George, like I said, not his best showing offensively. 6 points, but 8 rebounds. So the rebound numbers are very, very encouraging. His shot, we know he could be that sniper. Now, has he, kind of slumped a little bit early in the season? Yeah, but I think he will find his footing. 2 for 9 for the field, 0 for 6 from 3. 3 blocks, though. He is very, very active on the defensive end. Love what Keyshawn George does defensively. We're just waiting on the offense to come along. And we know that coming out of the draft, the offense was a part of his game that was highlighted. The expectations were not a lockdown guy, but a guy who definitely shows energy on the defensive end, stretching back to his time at the University of Miami in Florida. So, like I said, he's a guy who I think the offense will come around. But his defense, is really surprising me because 3 blocks and 1 steal. Come on now, y'all. So the starting 5, not too bad. Like I said, overall, this team struggled from 3, and the rebounding was abysmal. But look, the Miami Heat, they're cleaning another tier. There's definitely a talent gap between us and them, and it's all good. We know where we are. We're a rebuilding team. We have nice young prospects. But, I mean, if you look at the starting 5, I mean, Jimmy Butler dropped 18. Tyler Hero, 15. Rozier, who's always a Wizards killer, had an off night and still dropped 12. So, like I said, clear talent difference between the Heat and the Wizards. We're 2. So, like I said, definitely like what I saw from this team overall. The 3-point shot wouldn't drop us. But let's get into the second unit real quick. Johnny Davis, y'all. Come on now. Johnny Davis, a guy that, yes, they did decline his option for next year. So he will be an unrestricted free agent. But to me, he'll be gone by the deadline. I think that he's definitely going to be a salary filler. And performances like this definitely give him some value. Now, tonight, 17 minutes play, 9.7 rebounds. Very active in the boards, shooting 4 for 5 from the field and 1 steal. So definitely a really good performance from Johnny Davis. Don't expect huge numbers. Like I said, we know what it is. The writing's on the wall as far as his future here in DC. But right now, he's playing to boost his value. So when the time comes for him to be added to a future deal, because like I said, we're about to talk about it, but a lot of the vets, if not all the vets, will be gone by the deadline. And obviously, there's some gray area guys like Jordan Poole, who I think is definitely a permanent piece here in DC. Sadiq Bey could very well be also a permanent piece here. And Corey Kispert, which, could you see a Denny-like trade? Absolutely. But I think you keep a guy like Corey Kispert around. I mean, you need that sniper off the second unit, and you need a guy who would high basketball IQ, improve ball handling, a mid-range game, his ability to move it out the basketball, slash and attack the basket. You got to utilize a guy like that in DC. But I could understand if they went the Denny route too. So some other people to look at in the second unit, Jonas Valanciunas, not his best showing. 7 rebounds, but only 1 assist, 4 points, 2 for 8 from the field, 1 block and 1 steal. So again, kind of up and down so far, but he has been a constant presence in the paint. But again, not his best showing offensively. And Corey Kispert, he struggled tonight mightily. I mean, I'm not concerned. We know what Corey Kispert can do. 30 minutes played tonight, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 1 for 10 from the field and 0 for 6 from 3. Shot clearly was not dropping. Sometimes it was a case of the shot clearly not dropping, and he did shoot, some tough shots too. So overall, 3-point shooting took a massive hit tonight, guys. But like I said, Miami, clearly they're in a different stage and with their team development. There's a team that definitely wants to challenge for the play-in for the 8th spot. Maybe they could move up to the 6th, but like I said, the Eastern Conference, while they're not quite on the level of the Western Conference, they have shown that clearly all roads go through Boston. But there's teams that have gotten better. The Knicks, we'll see about Milwaukee, but there's teams that have gotten better in the Eastern Conference. So Miami, I think they definitely a piece away from really making some noise in the Eastern Conference. But as long as you have Ben Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, amongst other people, Jimmy Buckets, man, he usually willpowers his teams into the playoffs. So, you can't take a lot away from Jimmy Butler, man, and what kind of impact he has on his team. So, all right, everybody, we're going to get into the report about, look, the youth movement is going to start a lot sooner than later. But again, the Washington Wizards lose to the Miami Heat 118-90 in Mexico City. And not only did Jordan Poole and Bilal Coulibaly shine, Alex Sarr said, look, I'm here too, y'all. So, like I said, good performance from the street. But overall, as a team, the rebounding and 3-point shooting definitely took a hit and were key factors in the team losing this game against the Miami Heat in Mexico City. So let's get into the youth movement. Is it going to start a lot sooner than later? I think so. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So you guys know me. I'm a big catalyst of we all need somebody to talk to sometimes, man. And BetterHelp is here to help you out with that. And there's 3 factors why you should definitely consider rolling with BetterHelp if you need somebody to talk to. Well, first of all, if you're thinking of starting therapy, definitely give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, which are all big reasons why people, usually, don't think about going to counseling because, online gives you a convenient approach to counseling, right? It's flexibility and schedules, right? And in a world where we're all working our tail off, man, and, really, how do you allocate your time to other things such as, getting your mind right? BetterHelp helps you with that because, again, it's suited to your schedule. So, look, just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, everybody, let's get back into this thing. So there was a report that came out. This is via X, aka Twitter. It's through Jake L. Fisher, and it says that the Washington Wizards are in a deal-making mode right now. Malcolm Brogdon, Kyle Kuzma, Jonas Valanciunas, Corey Kispert, and Johnny Davis are all on the trade market. So, first of all, I don't think any of us are really surprised. I think that, Will Dawkins has told me himself, once you hit the trade deadline, after that, it's going to be youth movement. They're going to move on. They're going to try to get some kind of assets for most of these these veterans, man. Now, looking at players like Jordan Poole, I think he's a keeper. I think they're going to keep him around. Now, could they still shop him? Absolutely. He's going to have value, especially now that he's really taken that next step as far as his development and really became, I mean, look at him. I mean, he's playing good basketball. So, like I said, he's really came out and he's been very impressive this season overall. But look at the rest of the veterans. Jonas Valanciunas is definitely a guy who has value. He's going to be moved at some point. Malcolm Brogdon, yes, his injury does take a hit to a certain degree, but once he comes back, his price tag, the injury does kind of really have effect on his trade value because his price tag is 22.5. So, what team is going to want to add $22.5 million worth of salary for a guy who we all know that Malcolm Brogdon can play. Former UVA guy, has links to the DMV, but when he plays, he can perform. He's productive. But here's the thing. Availability is your best ability. And his injury issues have been a concern. He's already hurt. And again, with that price tag of 22.5, that could be a hindrance in any kind of trade value, in my opinion. Even though I think that they will move him at some point. But Kyle Kuzma was a name on the list. And I think that with the emergence of Bilal Coulibaly, now Kyle Kuzma can play the power forward. Couldn't he coexist with Bilal? Yes. But right now it's a youth movement. You definitely want to get some value for Kyle Kuzma at some point. I think he could be gone by the deadline. So I fully expect outside of, Corey Kispert is 50-50. You could see them take the Deni Avdija approach. They've already signed him to a very team-friendly deal. They could move him at some point, if not the deadline, but you could see in draft night next year in the 2025 NBA draft, man. So could he be moved at some point? Absolutely. But I think that a player like Jordan Poole, a player like Corey Kispert, these young guys are proving that they're going to be better a lot sooner. And you keep guys like that because think about it. Look at their age 25. They're going to be entering their prime right around the time that these young guys start being re-signed and you start hitting the potential. Like I said, Bob Carrington is going to be better than a lot of us thought. Bilal Coulibaly is already better than a lot sooner than a lot of us thought. And the same thing with Alex R and Keyshawn George. I think that these young guys are going to be better than they're going to be better sooner. And when you add in the 2025 NBA draft, this is going to be a young, dangerous team in the next couple of years, man, in my opinion. They're going to be better sooner, in my opinion. So, guys like Jordan Poole, guys like Corey Kispert, they could be keepers in long term, in my opinion. Sadiq Bey, we'll see, coming off that ACL injury and subsequent surgery. But to me, you keep those guys around. But like I said, you could definitely see them taking the Denny approach with Corey Kispert. So you guys get the comment section. And who is tradable to you guys? I think we all know. Everybody outside of the 5 draft picks underneath Will Dawkins are tradable assets. But who do you guys really expect to be traded? Like I said, Jordan Poole is 50-50. Now you can argue, even though I'm a person that says, you keep him long term. If you find the right trade offer, if it's too good to pass up, then you probably make that move. Like I said, we're in selling mode right now because the youth movement has not properly started yet. And with these young guys, you have to give these guys minutes, man. I mean, the second half of the season, I fully expect them to be a very young team. And you see, these young guys continue to get massive minutes and just continue to let them develop, let them play. Because again, there's not a lot of expectation on these players. The expectation is on what? Development head coach Brian Keefe and the front office. General manager Will Dawkins, president of basketball operations Michael Winger, Travis Schlenk. I mean, the list goes on. The front office, a lot of pressure on them, even though they've done well overall. Now, everybody, there was another report they went over the KP trade and Tyus Walker for nothing. And yes, that can be a blemish on a very, very early resume for Will Dawkins. But like I said, I think we all knew that there was a chance that Tyus was going to walk free because KP was going to walk for free. And just being able to acquire Tyus in that trade for KP, sending him to Boston, was kind of a blessing. And yes, Tyus walked for nothing, even though I'm a firm believer that they should have accepted that trade offer from Minnesota, which I believe at the time was 3 or 4 second-round picks. You take that second-round picks because, 2 reasons why. Number one, this front office has shown that they can definitely find talent in the second round. Last year we got Tristan Vucevic in the second round because the big narrative before that was this team does not utilize second-round picks. Most second-round picks for this franchise dating back probably the last 15, 20 years, none of them showed up to play. Yannick Zosa is still in Spain. He's not getting extended minutes, and the list goes on of guys who have not panned out in the second round. And Tristan Vucevic, while he hasn't gotten many minutes so far this season, he's the guy that once they move on from Jonas Valanciunas, once they move on from Rashawn Holmes, we'll see about Marvin Bagley III. But once they really send a lot of these guys in the center position loose, you're going to see some more minutes for Tristan Vucevic. So, like I said, this team is in sell mode. This team is going to sell off most, if not all, of these vets at some time before or at the deadline. I think that's a good move for the front office because get draft compensation. Look, it's the OKC model, Oklahoma City. And again, guys, these draft picks that we have acquired so far and will acquire serve two purposes, right? Number one, acquiring young talent in the draft. We're going to build through the draft and supplement through free agency. Number two, when it comes to adding that Paul George type of player, that one veteran star player to add to this young core and pushes over the top to become a playoff / contender, we're going to have the draft compensation to do so. We're going to have those 3 or 4 draft. Because look, acquiring top talent like Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland, Paul George to LA, it takes draft picks, especially first round picks, to be able to coerce the team to send you over a star player, because at that point they're going to want some sign of the future, which is draft picks. So, like I said, they serve 2 purposes, and I think that Will Dawkins has done a great job getting first round picks. But definitely for a lot of these guys, especially Jonas Valanciunas, you definitely want to get maybe a first round pick. LA, the 2029 and 2030 picks are available, so you very well could get one of those first round picks from the Lakers and Hood Schifino, who they did decline his option. So he would be a really nice point guard prospect to sit behind Bob Carrington and Jordan Poole, in my opinion. So like I said, you can definitely get some value from these guys. Kyle Kuzma, are you still going to be able to get that asking price of 2 first round picks? I don't see it. I think a first round pick and maybe a young player in return, just a couple teams that could be really good options for Kyle Kuzma. The Utah Jazz is one team I'm definitely looking at. To add a young player, maybe a first round pick. So, like I said, we have a lot of capabilities to add draft picks and young players to this team. We're going to get younger sooner. So you guys get in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Here's a question for you guys in the comment section. Which player has had the most value right now? Kyle Kuzma? Is it Jonas Valanciunas? Malcolm Brogdon? I don't expect that because with the injury. But you guys let me know, what players do you see us getting the most back in return in any future trades? So you guys definitely let me know. So we're going to get into comments. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, y'all. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place, y'all. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live, play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join the day. You can start at $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Good Lord. And that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. And your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, everybody, introducing the Locked On Wizards daily newsletter, a one-stop shop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. All right, everybody. And like I said, guys, with the newsletter, I am writing the articles for Locked On Wizards. So definitely let me know what you guys think about my articles, because I try to do a lot of previews, recaps, getting into future moves. So I try to, really get on my writing game a little bit. So you guys definitely let me know what you guys think of my content, my written content that is. So let's get into comments, everybody. Let's start this thing off, because I definitely wanted to rock before 1 o'clock, because I know it's NFL Sunday. So a lot of you football fans, I wanted to get this because it was a late game. And while you guys know me, most late games, especially West Coast trips, I still put out live recaps. But Saturdays are hard, man, because usually it's family time on Saturday, man. So like I said, definitely wanted to get this out before football started, and definitely chop it up with you guys to start this week coming up, because it is Sunday, man, which means tomorrow is Monday. So let's get this week started off right. All right, Link says that attitude was visibly making them tired. I expect a better team 3-point shooting performance tomorrow. SARS K. And it goes into his next comment. KD like move on Bam for the mid-range jumper was nice. His shot creating potential is there. Absolutely. Alex Starr is going to be all right, man. He's going to be a star. Bilal Coulibaly is going to be a star. We're going to find a superstar in the face of the franchise in the draft coming up. But all 5 of these draft picks on the Will Dawkins have been really good players, man. Bilal looks like he's breaking out in year 2. Bub Carrington, he's a dog, man. He's a future at point guard, if not the future backcourt mate with Jordan Poole. And looking at Keyshawn George, yes, the shot and the offensive output has not shined so far. The defense has, but I fully expect him to pick it up. And you're going to definitely see a lot more of his potential as a 3-point shooter and just an overall dog on the offensive end. So I'm with you on that. The 3-point shooting definitely sunk this team, and the rebounding numbers. And we definitely lost the battle of the rebound. But I'm definitely with you on that. Let's see. Locked on Law says, I absolutely hate the 3-point shot and anyone who takes it. Man, look at it. Yeah, he goes into his next comment. 7 for 35. You got to be kidding me. I could find high schoolers who can shoot better. Not their best showing from 3 points. So I'm with you on that one, man. But I definitely see them getting better from 3-point range. Miami is a team who can be a pest on the perimeter. Jimmy Buckets, man. He's a guy who's definitely still in your face, very physical defender. So, like I said, it's going to take time. And look, we all know that you see the potential with these young guys, but it's going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trials and tribulations with the young team, because they're very young, they're very unproven, they're very raw. Yeah, you see Bilal, he's breaking out offensively. He looks like this is going to be his breakout campaign. And you see the offensive potential, not only with Alex Sarr, but, Bub Carrington's a dog, and Keyshawn George. So they're going to be all right. The biggest thing is getting them those minutes. Getting them very active with that chemistry and the starting 5 together. And like I said, will the second half be very, very long and very hard for us, man? Yeah, absolutely. But I think this team will pay dividends. Definitely want to give these guys the minutes, man. And that's why I think that, it definitely behooves the Wizards to move on from most, if not all, of your veterans on this team, because you want to start a youth movement. They have to build this chemistry together. And so once we hit the 2025 and 2026 drafts, we already have the core chemistry here. We're just adding young players to that mix, man. So I'm with you on that. Joshua Cotton, how you doing tonight? Or today, that is. It says, I guess Johnny D couldn't carry us to a win. If you're expecting Johnny Davis to carry us to a win, you're going to be waiting for a minute. But he had a better performance. But we all know where he's at. He's not part of the future here in D.C. He's a guy who will be draft, salary filler for any future trades. And I definitely see him being gone. It is what it is. We can't go back to the same age-old question, where did it go wrong? Overall, I think it comes to this conclusion. He did not live up to his draft position. 10th overall, he didn't live up to being 10th overall, in that draft. So it is what it is on that. Locked on Law says it's not the wins or losses. It's taking one bad shot after another. I agree with you. We have to shoot better, high percentage shots, man. We got to take advantage of good looks, man. And 3-point shot, one drop. Overall, we shot 41% from field goal, but the 3-point shot sunk us. It really did tonight. So I'm with you on that. Let's see. Locked on Law also says, take the ball to the rack. If Beyonce was on the court, I bet they could find the rack. Wow. Okay. All right, man. Yeah. All right. He also said, this Chuck and Duck nonsense is not developing anyone. I agree with you that, man. I agree with you on that. But Yearn Man 12 says Bilal is a French Pippen. I love that comparison. Scottie Pippen is that comparison. People say Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can kind of see that, man, with the fact that very raw coming out of the draft. But I mean, year 2, man, he's breaking out. I ain't mad at that. Bilal's shown that he put the work in the offseason, man. He put the work in. So like I said, him blossoming in year 2 says a lot about his trajectory. I think he very well could be an all-star one day. I mean, he still has a lot of time to develop. He's not a finished product, guys. I mean, but Bilal definitely gives you a glimpse of what the future is here in DC. Locked on Law, man, you are rolling today, man. Pippen never shot worth a crap from outside. Yeah, but I mean, you're 100% correct. But you also got to take into account too that it was a different league. It was not a 3-point shooting league. I mean, you had 3-point shooters in the league at that time. You had your Dennis Scotts. Shout out to Dennis Scott. He's from the DMV. You had your Ray Allens. You had your Reggie Miller's another guy. Obviously, you had guys who could shoot the 3-point shot, but it was more of a mid-range game. It was a different league. If you look at the center position back when Jordan was in and Pippen was in the league, who was the center for the Bulls? You had Bill Winnington. He wasn't a 3-point shooter. Patrick Ewing was not a guy who was shooting a 3-point shot. Hakeem Olajuwon was not a 3-point shooter. Now in the modern day NBA, you see the center can step back, spread the floor, and shoot the 3-point shot. Kristaps Porzingis, the list goes on. Joel Embiid, the list goes on. Now the modern NBA is a 3-point shooting league. So I'm with you. It was never his game. More of a point forward. But I'll tell you this: Scottie Pippen was one of the best passing forwards I've ever seen. And if you look at teams like Chicago Bulls, they tell you what. Championship teams are about the right role players. We often talk about stars, starters, and not every player in the NBA is going to be a star or a starter. And it's all about the right role players. The Steve Kerrs, right? The John Paxsons. It's all about the right role players. And, when you look at these young guys, could Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington be the starters in the future? Absolutely. But look at a guy like Keyshawn George. I think he definitely could be the 6th man. Now, I think he's a guy who can definitely be a scorer off the bench for this team, man, in the future. So, like I said, it's not so much always about the stars or your starters. It's about finding the right pieces to surround your guys, man. I think that we've done a good job finding young players who could complement this core and definitely be part of the young core going forward, man. But Scottie Pippen's not a bad comparison, but I agree with you. But, totally different NBAs, man. Totally different NBAs. Link says there will be some random games where Bub and Keyshawn get hot from 3, but I'm glad they slumped to start off. It's a great learning experience and is up from here. Great comment. I agree 100%. They're going to have their bumps and bruises, man, but it's all about learning. You got to fail to learn. If you rocking it out all the time, you're not going to learn because you're not going to know how to react both physically and mentally when it comes time to struggling. You want these young guys to experience the struggle early on because so mentally they know, look, I need to change, parts of my game that I need to change. How do you bounce back from struggling? That's the kind of learning experience you want for these young guys. So I agree 100%. Link also said it would have been tougher if they started off hot than had a mid-season slump. Absolutely. Mid-season slump would have had a harder impact on these young guys than kind of, struggling early on and finding your footing as a player. So I am definitely with you on that, man. Locked on Law says, BetterHelp, I am depressed. So watch you Wizards say no more. Man, I tell you, Locked on Law, man, you rolling today, brother. But yeah, look, you got BetterHelp, man. If you're struggling with the rebuild process in DC, man, BetterHelp is there, man. Whiskey also helps, man, but it is what it is on that front, man, guys. Definitely patience is the name of the game for the young whiz kids. Bucket Getter says, Sar's best game yet. He's 19. I'm trying to tell you, 19 years old, very young. He'll be a great player, in my opinion. Bilal was a diamond in the rough. Bilal was a definite diamond in the rough. I mean, they got value. Even though, yes, he was a top 10 pick, but the jury is out on Bilal. And here's the thing, he was a relative unknown coming to the draft. If there wasn't, Wembanyama, him playing with you, Wembanyama kind of gave him a lot of exposure because a lot of people were not really big on Bilal in the draft. Coming from, playing in France, Wembanyama obviously was the guy in that draft. But, Bilal Coulibaly is shown that he is definitely a diamond in the rough. And Alex Sarr, yes, number 2 overall. But, like I said, a lot of people were down on him after the Summer League. I thought that was kind of foolish. He's shown that he's going to be a star. He's shown that once he can figure it out offensively, the kid's going to be a monster here in the nation's cap. So, like I said, this draft was very important, in my opinion, because we found 3 guys who are definitely part of this team going forward. So when we finally get that next championship trophy, these 3 guys are going to be part of that team. So, like I said, I'm with you on that. Delete. What's up? How you doing? It says Jonas got to go. I think Jonas is definitely going to go. You see glimpses here and there, but he's definitely he's going to start declining. Age 32, the speed's not there anymore, even though he was never a sprinter. He's never a guy, but you see the decline to a certain degree, but he's a guy that is definitely still a force in the paint. He's going to have his up and down games, but we will get some value back for him, in my opinion. I think that Kyle Kuzma is a guy, we're not going to get the 2 first-round pick asking price, but he's a guy that we're definitely going to get some value back. We're going to get a young player in the first-round pick in return. To me, the harder guy to move is Malcolm Brogdon. Not because of his, what he can produce on the court, but his injury history and the fact that he's already hurt and his in his price right now, his salary is 22.5. So that's going to be a hindrance. How many teams do you know who are trying to make that playoff run are willing to, take on $22.5 million for a guy who has an injury issues time and time again? So Malcolm Brogdon is the guy where I'm really inquisitive about what his what we can get in return for him, in my opinion. So I'm with you on that. Locked Law also says Kuzma will be gone no matter what they get for him. He's become a cancer. I'm not going to go so far as a cancer, but I think that the writing's on the wall. I think it's definitely this year is the time that you move him, in my opinion. You definitely move Kyle Kuzma at the deadline because, like I said, with Bilal formally breaking out, and it has to be a youth move at some point. He hasn't really become a locker room cancer. But when you look at leadership, I think he has taken a back seat to Jordan Poole being the leader of the locker room. You see, JP13 a lot more vocal, a guy who's really become a really good influence on these young players. The biggest example of me was, when you saw Bub Carrington hit the floor and got up and he was ready to fight. It was Jordan Poole that came over there and said, look, settle down. There's no reason to fight because what happens after that? You're going to catch a tech, and you probably could get kicked out of the game. Settle down, let your plan be the talking point. You don't need to go out here and fight. So, like I said, you definitely see a lot of leadership from Jordan Poole. You see the production, but to me, it's not more important than production, but a valued piece is leadership. Because if he wants to be the guy going forward, we expect him to not only produce on the court, but be that leader. And he has. He has checked every box this year, guys. Like I said, you definitely have to give flowers to Jordan Poole because he has emerged as a really good player here in DC and a French all-star player, in my opinion. And he's a guy who's a year or two away from from him formally becoming, going to his prime, that is. So definitely give him his flowers, guys. So let's see. Delete also says Bilal's a star in the making. Absolutely. Lock the Law also says Poole will not only be gone if they think they can replace him in the draft. Here's the thing. Like I said, the Denny trade showed me one thing, and it should show everybody that everybody on the team is tradable outside of the 5 draft picks under Will Dawkins. Everybody's tradable. And yes, there's a lot of people who think that Poole could be a future piece here. You could definitely be a guy who could stick around. I'm one of those people, but I'm also not naive into the business of the NBA too. If you look at the salary, if you look at the fact that a team who wants to contend, he has value. He showed he can score at a high level, and he's checking all the other boxes that, where a lot of teams, including, a lot of Wizards, not a lot of Wizards, but a lot of teams were like kind of down on him about, which was defense and playmaking, finding other people. And playmaking, man, if you look at assist numbers, he's finding these guys, man. He's finding those looks for these young guys like Bilal and Alex Sarr. And from a defensive standpoint, if you look at the fact that, he's very active in getting in passing lanes with the steals and the blocks. Defensively, he looks a lot more polished. So I'm with you on that. Booker Getter says, I keep the rookies, JP, Kispert, Bilal, let's see, and Bay off performance. Johnny Davis, I see him being moved as part of a deal, but I'm with you on that. Bilal or Kispert and JP, I think they're keepers. And Bilal's breaking out in year 2. And, look, Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr, and Keyshawn George, they're going to continue to develop and get better. And Tristan Vucevic, I definitely want to see him get some minutes in the second half. So I'm with you on that, man. Bucket Getter, kind of echo what I said. Poole is going to show he's a keeper. Absolutely. I agree 100%. All right, everybody, like I said, I'm going to try to get through these comments because I know we're getting closer to 1 o'clock. So it's getting close to football time, man, by the root for my Commanders. So let's see. I'm trying to answer 4 or 5 more comments, man, because you guys know me. I like to answer every comment, man, but sometimes I can't. And this week coming up, we will have a mailbag or two. So definitely, I'm going to put it out on X and I'm going to put it out on the YouTube side of things, guys. So definitely shoot me your best questions. I'm going to give you my best answers. So we are going to have a couple of mailbags this week between games. All right. So like I said, 4 or 5 more comments because he ain't close to kickoff, guys. Let's see. Bruh Senor says, Alex Sarr bringing the ball up court, lobbing to Bilal for the dunk was amazing. Absolutely. The baby steps the growth the organization is allowing this team to go through is amazing to watch. Game by game, win or lose. That is a really good comment. You know, they are given it is baby steps. Absolutely. But like I said, there's no pressure on these players. They can just go out there and play their games. There's no expectations. So they can go out there, they can continue to develop and get better. And you're seeing it. I mean, it's very refreshing watching these young players in this new regime under Will Dawkins and Michael Winger, man, to continue to show the potential of why they were chosen when they were chosen. I mean, Alex Hart, number 2 overall, was definitely guy number 2. Even though, Reece Sachet looks good, but he fits the Wizards better than Reece Sachet would have, in my opinion. And, Bilal, he's a star in the making, guys. I mean, year 2, to show this massive growth in year 2 shows you that, 1, he's got the work ethic to be a star. Because being a star, being an all-star, being a face of a franchise, man, you got to be on another level than most of your average players. You got to bring it every night. You're Michael Jordans, you're Kobe Bryant's, you're LeBron James. Every night, day in and day in, in and out, man, they are putting on performances every night, high-level performances. And that's what separates the average from the all-star and those guys, is that you put in the work. And Bilal has put in the work this offseason. Same thing with Jordan Poole. So I'm with you on that. Let's see. Locked on Law says, I'd get rid of Kisper too if they could. He's a limited value. I mean, it's 50-50 on that. Like I said, I definitely think you need a sniper, a high basketball IQ guy, a guy who can move without the basketball on a championship team. But like I said, you could see the Denny approach. His contract is crazy cheap, man. And so he's definitely a tradable commodity, in my opinion. I would not be mad if they kept him. Like I said, he's a guy that I would love to see on his team. But then if they decided to move on, I wouldn't. I mean, look, I'm letting Will Dawkins do his thing. Will Dawkins has earned our respect, or should have, because if you look early on in the process, yes, you look at the KP move, not getting anything from Tyus Jones. I mean, but to me, there's been a lot more pros and cons. I mean, yeah, one mistake, absolutely. But Ernie Grunfeld made a mistake every year. I mean, Tommy Shepard made a mistake all the time. I'll take one mistake when you look at the massive progress that Will Dawkins, Michael Winger, Travis Schlenk, have done for this team. They are clearly rebuilding the right way. They're not taking any half measures, man. They're building it the right way. So I think that, if you're going to rebuild the right way, and they're doing that. They're taking a long approach, but they're doing it right. And that's what I want in DC. Real Clip says, y'all talking about Kuzma, but they're still losing without him. So they should trade him to a contending team. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. It's time to move Kuzma. It's time to move Kuzma. I mean, you will see massive growth from Bilal Coulibaly. It's time for you to move Kyle Kuzma, man. Because, yes, he was a leader for this team. But like I said, Jordan Poole's emerged as that guy. And when you have a vet like Anthony Gill, who, he's a great source of leadership on the bench, and when called upon, he produces. He's that hard-nosed guy that does a lot of things that aren't categorized. So I'm with you on that, man. I think it's time to move Kuz. And it really shines a new light. I know he's hurt, but maybe shine a new light on them keeping him healthy, because he could be on his way out of DC a lot sooner than later, man. So like I said, definitely think it's time to move Kuz. Definitely thank him for what he's done in DC. I mean, he's become more of a complete player here in DC as opposed to his time in the Lakers. So he has grown here in DC. He's done good things for these, knowing the direction we were going in, but the writing's on the wall, guys. It's time for them to move Kyle Kuzma. Crystal Scott, how you doing? Great show, sir. Appreciate you. John D says, whatever players we can trade and get value for, I say we do it. Absolutely. This is an amazing draft, and we should really get as many picks as we can. We should also trade up for the number 1 pick if possible. Man, I don't think we're going to be, look, you're seeing massive growth for these young guys, but I don't think we're going to need help getting that number 1 pick, because most of our wins going to be in the first half. Excuse me. The second half is going to be youth movement. It's going to be a lot of growing pains. So, but I'm with you. if you can add another pick in the 2025 NBA draft, especially in the lottery, Lord, I mean, if you're able to acquire a Cooper Flag and another high impact guy, or a Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, because Dylan Harper, he's a guy who could fit in well with what the Wizards are doing. Cooper Flag is definitely the headliner, but there's a lot of talent in this draft coming up, guys. So if we're able to do what we did with this previous draft and add another player, you make that move. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna try to answer a couple more because we're getting close to the 40-minute mark. So definitely appreciate everybody showing up tonight and rocking with your boy, man. Not tonight, today, right? So let's see. Bruh Senior says, seems like Kispert spent a lot of time expanding his game, absolutely, which is appreciative, but he downgraded his bread and butter, which is a decent shooter. It's unfortunate and hope he finds his touch soon. Yeah, his shooting numbers have gone down. And like I said, he kind of up and down. He's been a good scorer off the second unit, but, it's hot and cold, right? So hopefully he can definitely find his footing again because I'm not concerned with Corey Kispert because he's definitely going to be that guy, man. But, I think he has kind of like been forcing a lot of shots too. So I'm with you on that. All right, guys, a couple more. Definitely appreciate that. Let's see, guys. Shook Biz, always make your brother laugh here. Says B Scott, does Locked On Law remind you of a drill sergeant? Yeah, Locked On Law, man. Look, you gotta appreciate somebody that speaks their mind. Like, I ain't mad at you, man. Like I said, this is definitely a platform where I encourage everybody, man, say what's on your mind. Like I said, we all got different opinions on the process in DC, man. And there's no right or wrong, right? We all got our opinions here, man. Like I said, and we all have expectations of what our team wants to do or where our team's at. So, like I said, it's really refreshing to see a lot of people very active and what in the process of what this team's going through. Because the fan base is, look, we all know that my biggest thing is representing y'all, the people, the fan base. So you guys have a big piece in what the Wizards are doing. Because look, when they are back to being that contender team, which has been a while, you guys are a big part of the process. Support this team. So like I said, to see people very active in what's going on, it's very refreshing because for so many years, man, a lot of people just didn't show up. Because and yeah, for good reason, because the Wizards didn't always give us a reason to. Now with this new front office, they're giving us a reason to. We see the light in the tunnel. It's going to take some time, but we all know that it's going to be really, really cool watching these young guys grow. It's really cool watching Bilal grow, man, and watching him really take that next step. All right, guys, I'm gonna do one more comment. Like I said, Christian Coleman, how you doing? Says, honestly, I don't care where we draft. I have confidence that our front office will find a great player wherever. Amen. I agree. And that's definitely a really, really good frame of mind to have. We have a front office that's going to find if we're able to find a diamond in the rough in the later stages of the first round, in the second round, I think we have the front office going to do that. I have the utmost confidence in this front office, man. They have not given me a reason not to. I mean, yeah, Tyus Jones, Walker for nothing, KP. That's really the one hiccup in my opinion. Yes, we weren't able to get any kind of real draft compensation for KP, but we all knew that the likelihood of him walking was a very real possibility. And the same thing with Tyus Jones. I would have taken a deal for 3 to 4 second-round picks, even though it's kind of up and down what the true trade was. A lot of people are saying 2 to 3, other sources saying 3 to 4, but I would have took the second-round picks for Tyus. And, look, second-round picks have importance because we can add them to other future moves, man, and help us, when situations where we want to move back into the lottery, we can do so because we have the draft capital to do so. So, all right, everybody, like I said, I hate to miss any kind of comments. This week coming up, we will be doing some mailbag episodes, man. So definitely want to get, chop it up with you guys and definitely, get on here, answer some questions, have some fun with you guys this week coming up, man. So I definitely appreciate everybody showing up today, showing some love, man. Because like I said, definitely didn't want to miss last night, but like I said, Saturdays are hard because the weekends are family time, man. So like I said, but West Coast trips during the week, you guys know, man, these 1 o'clock videos will be a go. So like I said, definitely appreciate you guys, man. So, all right, it's football time, guys. So again, definitely appreciate everybody showing up today and showing your boys some love. And let's get into some football, man. But don't forget, we're going to take a look real quick with this week coming up with what to expect schedule-wise with our Wiz kids, because tomorrow we have a game. So like I said, I'm going to pull up real quick and probably give you guys my real quick keys to development. So let me go ahead and pull up the schedule real quick for the Wiz kids. Tomorrow, 7:15, we are at home against the Golden State Warriors, who are 5-1. So again, guys, definitely show up and show your support because And, the Wiz Kids, man, got a big matchup against the Golden State Warriors, which is Jordan Poole's former employer. So it's going to see how he responds in playing against the Golden State Warriors, man. But like I said, looking at some things to expect real quick in my 3 keys to development. Defense is the name of the game, guys. Golden State is number 3 in the NBA, scoring 121 points per game. So definitely we have got to be fluent on every areas of defense, in the perimeter, in the paint, in transition, communication. Definitely have to be on key on the Golden State Warriors and their offense. Good Lord, man. Rebounding. They are 4th in NBA with 47.8 rebounds per game. We've got to be on point in rebounding and win the rebounding battle. All right. Turnovers per game. We're about even. Well, matter of fact, we are even at 14.2 turnovers per game. So definitely we have to be fluent with ball movement and win the battle of turnovers. Definitely had to play turnover-free basketball. We're going to make our L's, man, but we have to be able to be very active in ball movement, man. And we have done well overall so far. So those are my 3 quick keys to development against tomorrow night's game against the Golden State Warriors. And again, we will be going live after that game. So again, appreciate you guys. So all right, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys tomorrow night.